Hello guys, welcome back to Bear20's Projects. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you my random word generator, which takes probabilities from the alphabet and randomly generates words from them. As you can see in the video here, it's blinking in Morse. It's speaking in Morse code, the letters. And my cat is in the way. Quite sorry. He's very curious about this project, as you admit. A bunch of blinky sounds on the ground. He was very curious, but the Morse code you hear, that's each letter being spit out in Morse code. And then on those 14-digit displays, or 14-segment 8-digit displays, you see the random word being generated. So I'm going to be showing you guys how this works. I'm showing you the code, and I'm going to show you the probabilities and how I created them and how I did this. It basically takes the alphabet and creates probabilities from that, and then puts that all together in a big Python list, and it just randomly chooses from that list, weighted, so it biasly chooses using the random.choices function with weights in it. Alright, enjoy the show. I'll be with you guys in a second. Alright, moving over to the code side here. Today I'm going to show you guys my code for the random number generator. First, we have three modules for the Raspberry Pi Pico. We have the actual word generation itself with all the probabilities. And then we have the Morse generator code, which just is a function that takes in a string or a list of characters and outputs a list of dots and dashes for Morse code. Then I have my main.py, which puts it all together for the Raspberry Pi Pico. Now, I do not have my Pico plugged in right now. I'm currently running my local Python 3, so this will not work because local Python 3 does not have my machine or anything like that, or I2C from machine. So I built this, which is just a replica basically, which is just the generate word function. And you guys saw in the intro, but just to run it again, it generates some random words based off the probabilities of the dictionary. See here, Waldero, that kind of sounds like a real word. Rangrisi, these are long ones. I can change the length of the word here. I just have it, the minimum is 4 and the max is 16. Look at that. Ifopic. So yeah, a bunch of random words. So today I'm going to show you guys how it all works. Okay, let's start with the random word generation. So how do I get all these probabilities? Well, first I'll tell you how it's structured. So the letter A, if let's say I have the word this right here. If A is your first word, what is the probability that the next letter will be N? And so if you notice, each list has 26 indexes or 26 dimensions. And so what it'll do is, if it detects this is the first letter, then it'll find the probability, it'll randomly choose an index from this list and it's a weighted choose. It's from random.choices, so it's ratedly choose based off this percentage here of that letter being of that next letter. So if A was here, the percent chance that the next letter will be A is this right here. So this is the percent chance that the next letter will be A. So it's very uncommon you see AA, so there's a low chance. Very rarely you will see no chances right here. So of the dictionary I gave it, there is not a single instance where after the letter B there is A, B, C, D, E, F. There's no instance in the dictionary where BF happens. And you're like, well, where did I get these probabilities from? Well, I got it from, no, it's terminal. I got it from the Cambridge pet thing. Oh, maybe recent. Oh, it's not here. I got it from the Cambridge pet, which is basically, there you go, the Microsoft Word. I got it off this. So Cambridge has all the vocabulary you need for preliminary schools, as you see right here, and it's just, very easy to analyze for an AI. Obviously, I personally did not go through every single one or write a program to go through every single one and then, add all the instances, one letter comes after the other. I did not do that. I made ChatGPT do that. Great use of our water. But I made ChatGPT analyze this whole thing for every letter, just a bunch of words, calculates all the percentages, like what's the chance that A comes after C, or all the stuff for all 26 letters. So there's 26 lists with 26 dimensions. So we have a grid, a two-dimensional grid with 26 squared indexes. And then I have some logic right here. And then I got the percentage chance that the first letter will be of this kind. So the percent chance that the first letter will be an A is 11. The first letter will be a Z is very low. This. So it's very low chance for all these. S, very common here. Where's another one? I is a common one. That's interesting. I guess I is a common one. But this is a percent chance, these letters come first in the alphabet. Because, we can't, calculate what the next letter is going to be if we don't have the first letter. And so we have, this is, I had to write this little function right here because, the random for the Raspberry Pi Pico does not include random.choices. It's a more slim version of random. So you just have to create a little function here, which basically, sums the weights up, divides it by the total, picks a random one into it. And so it uses the weights as a bias for choosing random ones, which is necessary because we have all these percentages here. All right, and then we have our generate word function. This is basically, so it'll first choose a random first letter. We can see, where is that? Start letter, right here. It'll first choose a random start letter, and then it'll go through for a random word length from 4 to 16. It'll go through each. So if the first letter is like E, it'll go to the list E, and then do a random choices on all these indexes, and then choose one. And then it'll append that to the list, and then do that over and over and over again until this length is reached. That's why you see this word length -1 right here. And so you basically, this is basically just going through all of this and finding which letter you have. And this is going through all the word length. And then after that, it returns the word right here in a perfect nice string instead of a list, because it appends it to a list. So it comes out with a list of characters, and you want to join that all up into a single string right here. This is all the Raspberry Pi Pico one. It is quite similar for this. I just have random.choices I'm using this time. I don't need that weighted function. I guess I do use the weighted function. Well, I use the weighted function and then generate word, and then I just actually call it right here. So let's see it one more time in action. I think it's quite cool because it creates English-like words, but it's almost not English enough for it to be real. Like, let me not make it a long word, because 16 is very unlikely the word to be that long. Heat. Oh, it actually generated a word. That's pretty cool. Relinti, Lithium. Like, it's almost an English word, but like it looks too uncanny to be an English word. But sometimes, like this one, Anipia, that kind of looks like a word. Enteral. It's almost internal, but internal. Anduri, Scoto. That's a pretty cool one. Scoto. PT weight. Ingua. Escher. Sympathy. Rem. Comma? Thieg. That one's complete gibberish. Benthext. So, you can see it generates random words. It technically has the possibility of generating every English word if you let it run long enough. But it generates random English words, and then I have it written here for the Raspberry Pi Pico because I actually have a gift of it, as you saw in the two which is hooked up to a 14 segment displays, 8-digit 14-second displays, which actually displays this word. So we can see, where is it? Right here we have all the display and stuff. So we're basically just taking this word and feeding it into some logic to display it from the Raspberry Pi Pico. And I'm programming everything in MicroPython here. Very simple. MicroPython, just easy to use, supported. Performance is not great, but I mean, it doesn't require much for this. So, very cool. All right. So again, I'll link this down below, all the words if you want to look at it. It's basically just a shortened dictionary. It might have some bias because it's for preliminary schools, so it might have like some words that are not commonly used, or are very used, but it does not have every English word. I'll post this all on GitHub. And yeah, ChatGPT generated all this for me, all these. So, and it should have, at least I think it did this. I gave it this and it said it did it. I hope it didn't lie to me, but it just looked through every word, calculated the percentage of the next one, and downloaded it. So you're welcome to try it out on GitHub. Download it, see what words you make. I'd love to hear what words get created in the comment section. That sounds really cool. Some words, sometimes it generates a swear word. I think it actually did that in the intro, which was interesting, but it's always a possibility. All right, well, thank you for watching today. This is Baritoni's Projects. I hope you enjoyed the video, and you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.